Here's why. I believe the American dream should be the pursuit of happiness, and happiness is never guaranteed or promised. The way that I look at it is you had to take a little risk in order to get that reward. After so many different variations of my opinion changing throughout the years, I've come to the one realization is that not many people are just wanting to take the chance, take the risk to start something and fail. That's why I think the American dream is dying. I think we're becoming more salaryman. We're becoming, we're opting out for hours because it's safer, it's more secure. And I think the lack of risk is what's making modernity, it's what's making boring things happen. And I also, kind of vice versa, like the consumers also aren't willing to take the risk either to venture out. We're already so accustomed to our current world that we don't want to take any other chances. I think capitalism, there's different variations, but in America, it's served a lot of good purposes. And you know what? I can't say if it's outweighed any of the bad. The final stage should be socialism, where we all kind of care about each other, especially in a world of AI and technology, where we can subsidize or at least lessen the human labor and exhaustion. We can put a lot more effort or a lot more of the weight and burden onto technology to ease humanity's lives, if we're being completely honest. I want to see that kind of America. To not only see the burden and risks, I don't want someone to go out there and risk their life. Well, I mean, I guess technically we should do something like that. The reason why I think Americans are the way they are, or why they take so much risk and so much chances, is because, let's be honest, the settlers had to do that. There was no guarantee of safety when you came to the American West. There's not only possible new diseases that they weren't even aware of at the time. I mean, they saw threats left and right because of the unknown. Ironically, they became the most, I don't want to say hateful, that's a strong word. I mean, it kind of was. Resentment did build from the unknown. We gotta do less of this, more of this. Coming from Knives Out. But the American dream, I think, is still exists. We just have to be willing to take the risk to dream again. That means a lot of people are going to fail. That means a lot of people are going to get hurt. But there's a possibility that we could rebuild America in a greater country with that effort. I think what we're doing right now, where we see retirement as the biggest safety net possible, is also vice versa destroying our future. Well, not maybe our future, maybe our kids' future or our grandkids' future, because we're so focused on guaranteeing our safety. But it's not like we're immortal. If someone found the key to immortality, great. If you want to be immortal, absolutely choose that path. I don't want to say it's unnatural. It's just that not everybody can be, if that immortality potion exists. So we need to be concerned about the future and make efforts to change it once we're gone. Retirement to me is not a bad idea. I think it's worthwhile considering of how long most people work. And there's this blanket, a security that when you're elderly and you can't take care of yourself simply because your body starts to not function, even in your mind, that retirement gives that burden of ease. But I think we're so focused on seeing all those numbers go up to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million that we're not seeing that we're taking away $1 million from the future. I watched this one video that talked about how we're investing poorly because when we pass away, then we hand down the inheritance to our loved ones. And the gentleman said that makes no sense because we're living longer. So, in best case scenario, you pass away maybe late 80s or 90s, and your son is already, or your son, daughter, close loved one, are already more than likely 50 plus years old, who already had to establish their life in one way or another. So basically, when we pass and we pass on our inheritance, we go, okay, you could retire now. You know, you can take a break. All right? Is that what it's supposed to? Is that what we're supposed to do? When we pass, we say, okay, you could take a break. Now you can retire. Or are we supposed to help them while they're building up? For example, today we see people who are struggling to afford homes, struggling to find the correct jobs, and struggling to really find an organic way to rise in life. And we should devote more of our time, if you have kids, devote your time to kids. And in fact, if you don't want to have kids, devote your time to others too, as well, to the future. Now, if you want to live where you want to focus on yourself, you want to travel the world, you want to see $1 million in your bank account, I completely understand. In fact, I don't even fault you at that. I don't think you're wrong by any means. I just simply want to let you know that there is a future outside of you. I feel like there's a problem today that we aren't focusing on the future outside of us, that we keep looking inward, which isn't a bad thing. When I say inward, I mean more we keep looking just about ourselves. And people used to say, well, it's about community. I don't know if community really is the all answer. I understand community. Yeah, community is a great answer, but it can only be a small local community that can come together. I think any larger will be a problem. I see, maybe because of my medical issues or because of other reasons, because of all the people that I lost recently, that I can't say that I fear death. I do fear it physically, that's for sure. But maybe it's okay. Some of us aren't supposed to be all too important. I think that's why my life stands. Some of us are supposed to just be workers. Some of us are just supposed to be family people. Some of us are just supposed to live, laugh, and love. And I think that our drive to be so settled, to be so set, and ensure the safety of our future, like my own future, makes us forget that what about your kids' future? What about your kids' future? Even robber barons had this ideology of I want all the money that I possibly can, but they build railroads, made it easy for people to travel. I want my name, I want a legacy, and protect that legacy, protect that name. Even though a lot of it fell in grace. I love the idea of fighting for the underdog. So I want to work to build this, not as a career or nothing. I mean, I would love to see myself still being on YouTube, talking and making money when I'm 70. But I mean, that's not reasonable. I think we should focus on taking the chances Especially coming from a hypocrite like me, if I'm being honest with you. I'm the most fearful person alive. I can tell you that. I am afraid of everything. Genuinely. I'm afraid of my own shadow during the daylight. As a man who's afraid of everything, I believe the best thing you can do in life is the pursuit of happiness. That means to you being or doing absolutely nothing. That is your happiness. Okay. But leave it there. If your happiness is to change the world for the better, do it slow. You don't have to rush it. I think it's time to take a little bit more chances. Because if I'm being honest with you, I think time is running out. And now, we really should risk. Risk it all. Baby! Yeah. We'll see. Maybe I'll condense this to a more breakable video and stop rambling. But I think the pursuit of happiness is definitely my life goal. I don't know how to achieve it. I just want to pursue it. Like I said, hopefully at the intro, glad to be back to the Dodo's Tales. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.